probably being shy today? Making sure all the TV comes.
Oh, I didn't know. Okay, go for it.
Come on, Lee, it's all you.
Well, I'll ask you an inside linebacker question. Just talking to Mike with Deverin, how's his progression after we saw what he could do last year? What have you seen from him in camp?
Yeah, you know, the big thing with Dave, like, first of all, is body comp, right? Like trying to add, you know, muscle, add a little bit of weight, you know, just so that you know, you can withstand the rigors, you know, of an SEC season. Like, I think he has, and we talked about it. I can't remember if it was early this camp or in spring. That an understanding of our defense far superior to where he was at this point last year, and so now he. Not only can he execute at a high level, but he understands when he makes a mistake. You know, he can self-correct. We talk about that, you know, quite a bit in terms of, hey, you know, a guy has started to get there when he can auto-correct. When he comes to you and says, "Oh, coach, I missed this," before you can even give him the correction. And so he's getting into that level right now, and so that's been really good to see. Has, you know, been flying around, making plays. And so we need him to continue to do that, you know. I feel good sort of about that room. You know, we've talked about, you know, the depth and the level of experience we have in that room. We're going to lean heavy on it, and he's one of those guys we're going to lean on.
Speaking of one of those guys, Hawk told us at media day, or maybe it was last week, that football's just football, but he was still picking up kind of all the terminology and things like that. How have you seen his progression?
Yeah, I think that's a great way to put it, right? Football's football. You know, when the pads come on, at the end of the day, at that position, you've got to know what to do. You've got to know where the run fits are. But, hey, listen, we don't need robots. We need playmakers. We need guys that can find the football, hunt it up, and then pin it to the ground, you know. And he's a guy that's done that in the past. He's shown it through, you know, spring and then fall camp. And we're going to need him to do it in the fall. You know, every day he gets a little bit better and more nuanced, you know, at our terminology, the way we operate, the techniques that we run, because every defense that you go into is slightly different. But you can see that the confidence level really rising in the understanding level. And it's like anything, like when you finally make that connection point and you bridge the gap to say, okay, this is what it used to be, how do I execute it without always having to think. You know, you think about a foreign language, right? The moment that you can actually think in the language that you're trying to speak, as opposed to always translate it, man, you're off and running.
About those scrimmages, moving days, was there anybody who jumped out and said, "I'm going to need more of this run than a bigger role"?
Knowing that I just identify. Yeah.
I know you're never satisfied, but how do you feel about where you are at this stage of camp right
I would say that I'm glad that we still have a couple of weeks left. But I think the energy, the intensity is there. You know, the way they go about their business is there. You know, we're still in that, you know, we got to just clean up some of the small things, you know, and clean up some of the technical things. But I think we're right about where you should be at this point in camp. You know, I think if you every year, you know, somebody's asked me that question, it's probably been about the same. Like, as a coach, you never quite feel ready. I mean, it'll be that, you know, whatever it is, Wednesday, I guess, is when we talk on defense before Southern Miss, and I'm going to be saying I can't wait for us to have these last 3 practices. You know, you feel like you need everyone. I think our guys are ready. Like, if we had to play this weekend, you know, are we as polished as we need to be? No, but with the energy level, with the way they fly around, you know, I'm pleased with where they are at that point.
We just heard about the bonding that's coming up in the D-line room, in that group, helping each other. How apparent is that in the practice now?
Oh, you can see the communication. So much is about communication and energy. And so when guys are talking, when they're flying around, when they're, you know, good, bad, or indifferent, you know, they're going to go to their team. They're celebrating the good things they do. They're coaching them on the things that they've done wrong. You feel the communication coming off the sideline, so the guys on the side are getting mental reps because they're engaged. You know, watching the guys, especially the older guys, they're watching the younger guys, trying to be, you know, an extra set of eyes, you know, for those guys. Because as a coach, you know, you're watching the next group, and you can't always make the corrections. And so to have a veteran group that young guys walk off to, and they're, hey, hey JJ, what about this? You know, hey Max or Zion, what about this? You know, it's great for those young guys, and it helps speed their development. You know, and we're going to need those guys. There's some young guys out there, you know, that I'm not going to mention, but that I'm really looking forward to see playing this.
Waller obviously hadn't had too much practice during fall camp, but what have you seen from him so far when he has had a chance to play?
Yeah, you feel that length, right? Like big, long guy that can get his hands on balls, even if the body position isn't perfect. You know, the length that he has, you know, with his arms, you know, can get the balls off receivers, or you know, get his hand in and have some ball disruption at that point. You know, again, another one where it's just, hey, listen, it's about just consistency of plays, and you know, some of that, you know, for a newer guy is just understanding what to do. You know, and he's still learning, no different than you know, at least Pop had all spring, right? You come in as a transfer, and man, it's all new terminology you're just trying to pick up fast. So, but once we get through that, you know, you can see the athletic, you know, skill set.
Right. Nichols is a guy that keeps popping up when we talk to the offensive players. Somebody that's kind of flashed at times. What have you seen at his growth?
Yeah, you know what, I'm gonna hold on that a little bit, you know, because again, has he flashed and has he done some really good things? Absolutely. Things change on Saturdays when the lights are on, and so again, we're extremely excited about, you know, the potential that he has. You know, I will say this, like, I don't think there's anybody that works harder, like on the field, off the field, especially off the field. Like, he's a guy that is in the building like 24/7. He just eats it up. Like, he can't get enough. Like, he can't get enough film time. He can't get enough meeting time. He can't, like, and it doesn't matter if it's defense, if it's special teams, all of it. So that I will say, but on the rest, we're just gonna have to wait. You know, I'm gonna hold on that.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Coach Stewart.